January 27th, 1919, a little baby was born in California to Armenian immigrant parents. His name? Ross Bagdasarian. Ever heard of him? Didn't think so. And yet he's a Grammy Award-winning artist, singer, songwriter, and producer. He tried a lot of different things. He wrote some songs that did pretty well for other people, but not so well for him. He even got some bit parts in movies. His biggest one was in Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window with Jimmy Stewart and Grace Kelly. He's the piano-playing playboy that you see across the way in the window that Jimmy Stewart watches. But he couldn't seem to make a success of it. Until 1956, when he was down to his last $200, he decided to spend 190 of those dollars on a VM tape recorder that had the capability to vary tape speeds. Now, he didn't want to risk his own name and reputation on what he was doing, so he produced a record under the name of Dave Seville. This record in 1958 went to #1. The song? Witch Doctor. Christmas of that same year, he decided to use his new technology to put out a Christmas song, and he introduced the world to 3 chipmunks: Simon, Theodore, and Alvin. The rest is chipmunk history. And even though Ross died in 1972, his chipmunks live on. How about you? Ever had an idea that you really wanted to try, but it was so new and so crazy, you just weren't sure you could pull it off? You know, there was a guy in the Bible like that. His name was Peter. And Peter had a knack for trying out new things and even sometimes getting himself into trouble. But at God's leading, he often would do things that no one else had done before. Do you remember when they were out on the boat in the storm and they saw someone walking on the water? It was Peter who got the idea to jump out and try it too. When Jesus asked the disciples, "Who do you think I am?" it was Peter who jumped out with the novel notion that Jesus was the Son of God, the Messiah. And in the book of Acts, it was Peter that God led to preach the gospel to the Gentiles for the first time. Now, Peter was often called on the carpet for his wild ideas, but when people could see that God was behind them, then history showed that the crazy ideas really could work. And now, 2,000 years later, the largest Gentile church with an interior seating of 60,000 is named after St. Peter, St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. What crazy ideas are floating around in your head? Has God given you some things that you want to try, but you're just not sure how it would work? A few words of advice from Peter. One of the biggest one, I think, is when he got that idea to walk on water, he didn't just jump out of the boat and say, "Jesus, I'm coming. I will do it all for your glory." No. He said, "Lord, if this is really you, tell me to come." And Jesus, I think with a twinkle in his eye, looked at him and said, "Peter, come on out of the boat." Is God calling you to jump out of the boat? First off, make sure it's him. This is not fear factor here. This is walking by faith. And you need to know who's calling you to try your new things. But once you know that God's behind it, jump out of the boat and give it everything you have. Who knows? History might show that you've got a pretty good idea. So jump out there, try something new, January 27th of 2010, and have a great day.